Okay, so I'm going to be doing my process evaluation for my Gracies. Gracies are used for root planing and that is the smoothing of the roots. We tend to use them for the coronal surface as well to achieve a nice smooth surface to prevent further plaque and bacteria accumulation on these surfaces. I'm going to start with a 1314, which is used on the distals of the posterior teeth only. With all Gracies, we want to try and enter and exit the pocket at a 0-degree angle, meaning the face of the instrument is on the tooth. So just like this. And we're going to want to enter and exit at this angle. So I'm going to start here, and then we will be entering at the distal line angle. And once we're in the pocket, then we want to make sure that the terminal shank is parallel to the tooth, to the root of the tooth. And the degree of angulation is going to be at 70 degrees, which is already established with the Gracies. All right, and then using the toe third, I'm going to use an exploratory stroke to feel for any roughness and in areas that need any smoothing. And then we will use an activation stroke with lateral pressure using longer, lighter, overlapping controlled strokes to smooth the surface. So I'm going to do that here. Okay, and that's here we go. And then just making sure we get all the way interproximal here. And then we're going to go ahead and continue here with the premolar. 0-degree angle insertion, parallel to the root, exploratory, and activation. Making sure to get all the way interproximal. And then exploratory, and activation. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and move to my 11-12. And with my 11-12, I can, this is used for the posterior mesial surfaces and on broad surfaces as well. For me, I personally like to use the 7-8 for the broad surfaces, but here I'm going to demonstrate using an 11-12 on the broad surfaces instead. In which case, if we're going to use the 11-12 on the broad surfaces, our point of insertion is going to be at the distal line angle as well. If we were going to be using the 7-8 for the broad surfaces, I would more than likely just go right for the mesial surface and just do the mesial surface. So I would enter here at the mesial line. But since we're going to do broad surfaces, I'm going to go ahead and enter here at the distal line. 0 degrees. And for the broad surfaces, I like to kind of use a mix of vertical and oblique strokes. With root planing, we want to use more longer and lighter strokes versus with scaling, we want to use shorter, more controlled strokes. And we're doing exploratory here. And then tuck back into the interproximal and exploratory, and then we can try and do some activation here. And then we'll go ahead and move over here. The premolar, and do the same. Do some oblique strokes. And then kind of tuck in here for the mesial. And I'm actually going to reinsert here because I'm getting caught on these gums of these typodonts. So let me reinsert here. And I'm not getting the activation stroke on this. There we go. I just needed to adjust my fulcrum and come up on it a little bit, so I just changed my fulcrum here. And now we're getting that activation stroke, and we're getting nice and interproximal, so perfect. Okay, so next I'm going to go ahead and move to the 1-2. The 1-2 is used for all the anterior surfaces. And yeah, I'm going to start off with number 6 and then go to number 7. The main difference between the 1-2 and the 11, 12, 13, 14, besides being for anteriors, is that it is also, our insertion point still it's always going to be at the midline instead of the disto-mesial line angle. So we're going to go ahead and start here at the mesial line angle, or sorry, the midline. I'm going to start here. Trying to get, I feel like the 0 degree angles are harder to get here on the 1-2s, but try as much as you can and get subgingival. And here, and then kind of the same deal. And then really making sure we can get into the contact here. This is so hard on this angle that I'm going, because usually I'm more in the angle of where the camera is at, so it's hard for me to get exactly where I need to, but you get the gist here. And then I'm gonna go here and start on number 7. Make sure to get really interproximal there. All right, and then we're gonna go ahead and flip the instrument for surfaces away, and then starting at the line, or excuse me, the midline again. And we want to make sure we're overlapping where we were before. Adjust my fulcrum a little bit. Like I said here, I'm going to readjust my actual position. There we go. I'm getting a lot more lateral pressure this way. I just changed my body, technically, like changing my clock position. That really helped. Yeah, so just making sure you're getting really interproximally. And those longer strokes. Get that nice and smooth. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and do the linguals of those same teeth, starting with my 1-2. And then once again, we're going to go ahead and start at the midline, insertion, and go surfaces away. Hopefully this video, or doing the lingual should be a little bit better, because I'm at my real clock position in real life. And then we'll go ahead and continue on with number 6. Making sure to get nice and interproximally, and just really trying to just stick to that toe third of the instrument. And I'm going to go ahead and do surfaces towards me, which sometimes I'm at this position, and then sometimes I'm kind of at more so 9 o'clock, and then have the patient face me. So we'll see how this works. Okay, so I rechanged my position, my clock position, so can get a little bit better access here. It's difficult to adapt it exactly how it would be in real life at home, so. You really don't realize how much clock positioning helps with your fulcrums until you don't have that luxury anymore. But yep, okay. Then I'll go ahead and move to the premolar and the molar. Okay, and then we're gonna move back to our 13, 14 and do the distals here. So coming in at 0, going up underneath the gums, lateral, or excuse me, parallel to the long axis of the tooth. And do our strokes. I am fulcruming kind of, this would essentially be like an extra oral for fulcrum, or I would be fulcruming towards the, on the mandible here. Making sure to get nice and interproximal. Now I'm moving up to the maxillary for fulcruming. And then I'm going to go ahead and move to the premolar. Come in at 0. And then I'm going to go ahead and switch to my 11, 12. And we'll do broad surfaces. Oh goodness, these gums. Using oblique strokes or horizontal strokes. And come in to some mesial. I'm just going to move my position a little bit more. And move my fulcrum here. A little closer so I can get a little bit more lateral pressure. And then we'll do premolar. Sorry, those gums are so messy. So dirty. I feel like with the 11, 12, it's a little harder for me to get my blade right at 0. Do some obliques here, get some of that nail polish out, sub G.